Alright, so here's the thing. This is, again, not a playthrough or anything. And basically, there will be new playlists coming forward. I decided to go ahead and go forward and make a new playthrough. This won't be a very long video. Um, because of how much space I have while I'm waiting on the video to upload. I have a brand new one because I'm putting Tales of Destiny, the first game, on hold for now until I've had to actually get a chance to go through the guide and see what I gotta go do next because I am at a loss. So there's that, and I may be putting it off anyway, so I'm gonna start a whole brand new deal. And as always, it will be blind. Because blind is the best way to go in this game in these days. Especially if I intend to be a guide. I mean, I kind of want to blindly guide people. That makes any sense. It probably doesn't. But basically, what I would like to do is, you know, run through it without looking up anything, which means I am refusing to look up any videos to spoil myself. So, you know, any game I've never played before, like the Tales of Destiny series, yeah, I haven't played those before. And the first game I have, and then there was a point that I stopped. But as far as I have played it, the first one, well, I played Tales of Fantasia, didn't beat the game, I only got so far, and it'll still be like blind. But I mean, like if I've already done a game but haven't played it all the way through, I will be recording it. So there's that, and I'm not gonna neither deny nor confirm that I will be doing that game until a certain time. Because I mean, I do love the Tales of Fantasia, or not Fantasia, but the Tales of Destiny series. But I don't know, it's becoming one of my maybe be like second place maybe. Because Final Fantasy for me is always number one, and that's not because of the newer generation. I mean, I have nothing against them, but at the same time, I feel like it's just not my cup of tea. I mean, I've gotten into a lot of new games and whatnot, but remakes are not my thing. Like I mean, I can see if the game needs to be remade. Okay, fine. Like a lot of new, like okay, like the older games, as many problems as they've had, yeah, you better believe that they needed to be remade because the controls were terrible on it. And I mean, I guess it had to be with updated graphics, but not to the point that it's a whole new separate game by itself. That would suck. And I really mean that. It would suck generally because honestly, if you're looking to play a game, you ought to be playing it, in such a way that it shouldn't have to be remade ever. I mean, yeah, while some things could be improved upon, but I mean, like, whenever, like, okay, let me put it this way to the point that you're gonna want to be like, what is this game? It has the logo on it, but it's not the same. Now, give or take, a lot of it shouldn't be the same because it should have been improved upon, but not to the point that it's completely out of the picture and it's not even the same game you might have played with. Like, giving it more of a potential. Because, like, with Darkwing Duck, I've heard about it, never really played it. It was a terrible game because of what was going on with that, and it just didn't make any sense. The whole genre didn't even have a good stance ratio, but a lot of people wound up playing them, and it was pretty freaking awesome. You know, but there's just a lot of games that just needed to, let me put it this way, fine tuning, but not to the point that, oh, wow, let's just completely overhaul it and make it like a whole brand new game that wasn't even the original. The original, there was nothing wrong with it. I mean, to the point that it had to be completely scrapped. And that's what they tend to do. And they add stuff that should not be there. You know, that overrides the old, which could still be used, but more in a new kind of way. I mean, you know, and that would be great if they would just leave that in there, but they don't. They just scrap it. And while there have been the tendencies that the remakes have had good things, but I don't like remakes. And there's nothing I would even potentially want to like about a remake that something like that would ever be. Oh, okay, maybe I should definitely focus on that. When in actuality, the thing is, you know, you just don't get it. Remakes should never have to be remade from the core on up. You know, like where it's a whole brand new game. I mean, it's fine when it's like that, but why slap that title on it? Like as if the original just didn't happen. They had a lot of good potential with them. I mean, yeah, there was some of it that needed to be improved upon. Improved upon is not taking away from the game. That's what they're doing with these remakes, and a lot of you support that. Well, good for you. And I'll tell you, I mean, you know, I'm just not the type that would sit there and say, okay, this is a good idea for the game. Now, having a whole brand new game is fine, you know, on its own. But slapping that title on her is not a good thing. So, you know, and I have to say, it's just not something I want to prophesize or say that, okay, this is something that we should all be doing. No. Ain't no way. I would rather sooner go, okay, time to move on. DMC isn't even original anymore. It's like a whole brand new genre to the point that it's not Devil May Cry. I remember back when Devil May Cry actually made a difference, and then it started to not make a difference. Like it wasn't even Devil May Cry anymore. I mean, of course, I don't know why they call it Devil May Cry, but hey, whatever. Especially, speaking of crying, I've been watching some of these anime this brand new, and they gotta go crying like a bitch. I mean, seriously, you're crying like a bitch. I'm a bitch, and I suck at my job. 'Cause it so sucks. We can't make enough money on it with it just one language, and I just can't handle it. Where? God, what a bunch of crybabies. God, man. I've never seen so much crying in my life. I mean, it's one thing when you consider what's happening, but it's like all that crying, and it's not necessary. What for? What are you crying about? I mean, are you trying to drive people away from trying to even watch the show? Because that's what it sounds like. I mean, there's other than that, the show is not even in good fine tuning. It's a it's a joke. I mean, to be honest with you, if I had to choose between whatnot and whatnot, I would not even choose to go, okay, maybe I should be watching this show. Oh, because it's about crying. Like, I'm supposed to know about that. I mean, it's not just about that, though, but when you start involving all this boo hooing, I mean, really? And it's not like I don't understand some of the time, but when you have unnecessary crying, for what? What are you crying for? It's unnecessary. Well, I lost the game. Really? Well, you lost the game. Good for you. And I should care because why? You think you know the darkness, but the darkness is not your friend. And I mean, I'll be honest with you. Not that I haven't already been, but this whole thing is a joke to these people. Anime is still good. I'm gonna be wrong, but when you start involving unnecessary crying, why? What are you sad about? I mean, hell, if it ain't women doing it, you got dudes doing it like they're a bunch of bitches. Like, really? That's what we call men who cry. But pretty much that's just the way things roll. And it's all fine and dandy until somebody wants to watch something and be like, okay, what are we doing here? Are we crying or what? I mean, are we gonna cry about? Oh well, maybe I should. Jeez. Or should I be playing the game?
On hold. Building. Unit ready. Construction option.
What? No construction option. Oh. Yes. Shock.
Training.
Shock to the system. But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, you have no idea the kind of baloney crap they gotta put out there. Like they just, oh my God, here's a show for you. I mean, other than that, I gotta say it's awesome. And you know, you know, it's all right.
Acknowledged.
I don't like to see games get real remakes to the point that, instead of using what they have on hand to improve upon, like they just slap the title on there like it's nothing. Are you kidding me? That's what you do?
Unit ready.
I'm gonna make a one of these.
Building.
You can make anything you want, but half the time there's not much point.
Acknowledged.
Actually, I think I need you.
Affirmative.
The thing about the skirmish mode is that you can sit here all day and they can never attack you unless they start building up Air Force troops. And that's it. They never use the water. No one ever uses the water. The only ones that are AI that actually use the water are in campaign mode, which is really the worst. And I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, it's a good idea to go ahead and grab all the special order, but if you don't wind up doing it, no matter whether you're in campaign mode or this, don't worry about it. As long as you have a bunch of or ore that regrows, you should be fine.
Unit ready.
I mean, because half the time, campaign mode is the worst to even do anything on.
Waiting orders.
So, I'm going to leave that guy here, I guess. The bad thing I hate about it is, like, okay, if you need to build, or not have build, but have enough ore to regrow, yeah, buildings can be in the way. I mean, it's fine when they have, like, this and stuff like that, but, like, these, yeah, it's bad. But I would give it up, however, but I need it because I need to be able to repair my troops in a jiffy. By that, of course, I mean my tanks. What am I saying, troops? But the troops are actually, they have a medical officer, and I could have sworn that this side had a medical officer. But apparently not. Makes no sense. What? But, and I could build a nuclear silo.
Building.
And that's pretty good to have. However, you can only get the nuclear silo in campaign mode in some missions, but not all. This is without spoiling it. I have been spoiled on this game because I played it. And it's still going to be, it would have been still blindly, I mean, because there are just some points I haven't gone past. And unlike the first one, the first campaign mission, where it has a bunch of different places you got to go, you don't actually have to complete all of them. I don't think you do for the well, maybe you don't. I'm not sure for the one after that. Um, but then again, it's just always that one mission that seems to be like the final mission. It almost seems like it, but it's also like the first mission. I know that makes no sense, but it's one where you gotta take a dude, have him be protected, which is not easy to do, while you're trying to bust through the entire place and try to do that. And I mean, it's so difficult because their troops respawn. And not only that, but it's harder than hay to get through the entire base and do that. But yeah, so Tales of Destiny, I feel then I'm just gonna take a break from it. I'm gonna go to another game. I'm gonna start playing that for a while. And I am got a playlist coming out. I might get this game, I might not, I don't know. uh, right now, I just don't have the nerves of steel to handle this game. And then particularly, or specifically, is the campaign mode. Regardless of whether I have time or not, doesn't matter. And that's just me being completely honest.
Construction option.
So, and the problem with airfields in this game is that, yeah, you can only build one or the other. And there are plenty of planes that, are missing, which I feel that could have been improved upon. There's like plenty of tanks and troops. I don't know what they are. And I have taken over the Allied base, but it's been a very long, long time since I've been able to even establish to do that. And the only way to do that is if you knock down the enemy enough on your own, or have the other enemy attack them enough, and then go try to protect them. But what you should be focusing on is not just their base of operations, but you should be also focusing on rare buildings that you cannot and I mean cannot do, because even if you actually took over their command center, which is the craziest thing of this game, you know, like say if I took over their allied building factory, I could not make, because it's a little bit different on each side, you know, I cannot make, I can make a helipad, but I cannot make the weapon I like. I like both of them, but you can't have both unless you want to take over, one. And even if you did take over, you you'd have to be able to take over the field and be able to, in order to be able to build those as much as you want. And it's sad because if you try to make a helipad, you're going to be wasting a helicopter, and you might as well just use them up. It's crazy.
Building. On hold. Cancel. Building.
So I always wind up making use of it if I can. I mean, I have gone through here and made it, but the very first time I actually played this game, I failed. There was a few times, and I finally said, "Okay." So then I did what I could to build up, and I haven't always had a success of getting my troops across to safety, and I mean everything over here. You know, the bases can be rebuilt if you
Construction
have
complete.
built a. Well, first of all, you, you'd have to build
Construction option.
you'd have to build a sub pin or whatever pin, whatever they have there, and then you have to have one of these and one of those.
Building. On hold. Cancel.
They have to be built, and then you have to have this
Yes, sir.
a transport because you need that to transport all your troops to a safe location. Or if you manage to, well, there's not, you really can't do that everywhere. But I mean, on this map, but if you were to move around, you still would need the two items: the war factory. I believe is one of the first things you had to build anyway, and you had to have a service depot. But you always have to build these first. Well, let me take that back. And when you first start, you're going to be building this. You want to immediately make one of these if you can. If not, just build this first. Because they change the prices. It's always random. So it's crazy. Whether it's campaign mode or skirmish mode, it makes no sense to me. But hey, whatever. And then you want to go ahead and you want to build this, and make sure you build your service depot. And if you have the chance, or you can, build this. This will protect your base as many as you can get until you've escaped or survived enough
On
to
hold. Building.
absolutely do any enough damage to protect yourself. And yeah, you can actually build it where you take all of your defensive weapons, like your Tesla coils and your fire knockers, or whatever you call them, have them go up all the way up to the enemy. It's not very easy to do when you've got ore in the way. So that's why you have, one of the reasons why you have an ore truck. An ore truck gathers the ore, which is your source of income. You can actually get more from crates, but that's just iffy. And the reason why it's iffy, because it's tricky. And because it's tricky means because you take a risk and it just go completely. It would just destroy your base or something, and it's crazy. And one of the trucks you do not want to build, I forget what they're called, but you just don't want to build them because they bring forth something that not only destroys their base, but it destroys your base, mainly your base. And your troops. It's a storm cloud of some kind, you know, and you can't have it randomly. You can't. You have no control over it. It kills whatever it wants to kill, and that's it. It's kind of like the AI. Only the AI is after us. It doesn't attack its own base. It could, but it doesn't. Like seriously, because you know how I know that is because I could attack my own base if I wanted to, and I have, I think, or you can, basically accidentally. You don't want to do that, but you never know. Uh, just for fun, you know. And now they got all these celebrities talking about, ooh, look at them in their bathing suits. I'm not the kind of person that cares about bathing suits. I'm serious, I don't. I mean, you might as well ask me if I care. Are you naked? Did you take off all your clothes? Well, all right then. I don't care. Not that I would ever really truly ask that question, but just an example because of like if I let me put it this way: if I cared about what you were wearing, then I would definitely have to be a person that cared whether or not they're not wearing anything. Not that I've never seen it. It's just, God, I don't care. I really don't. I mean, I'm glad that people do. Don't get me wrong. But when you consider like what they're wearing, what's next? What's a dog wearing? Nah, I'm good. But either way, I'm gonna stop it here, and I will see you all in the next episode. Later.